Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Winston, and I'm with the Career Services. In NUS-ISS, the Career Services is a team that looks after all our part-time and full-time graduate students in the areas of career development and job placement. But on top of that, we also manage the professional conversion program. And today in NUS-ISS, we have 7 different PCP programs that addresses different tracks of career conversion. And I shall be sharing with you this afternoon about what these tracks are about and how would it help your companies. So first of all, some of you may have known NUS-ISS, some of you may be new to us. I will just give a quick presentation and sharing of who is NUS-ISS, what we do. So if you can see from the chart, the infographic on the top right-hand corner, NUS-ISS runs a whole series of graduate programs, both for part-time and full-time. And within that, we have different tracks for our Masters of Technology, including data science, which we call enterprise business analytics, and then software engineering, intelligence system, as well as digital leadership. On top of that, we also have a graduate diploma in system analyst, whereby it is a 1-year intensive program to help non-ICT graduates to be converted to become ICT professionals. And Career Services will constantly support these individuals as they finish their programs in their various job placements. Now, down the track, we also have the graduate certifications. The graduate certifications are the scaled down of our MTech, but it is a stackable program, part of a stackable program. So a person can take the various relevant graduate certification and eventually stack towards a master program. And further down track, we also have over 150 modular courses that will help individuals who are interested in various areas of upscaling. Now, down the last track where you see the green link, that is the professional conversion program, which I'll be sharing today with all of you. Right. Today, as I mentioned earlier, we have 7 different professional conversion tracks that will serve different areas of emerging technologies. And companies that are going through either digital transformation or upscaling will find all these professional programs relevant in different ways. So that's the agenda for me today. To explain firstly what is a PCP, in short for Professional Conversion Program, what are the eligibility criteria, what's the process, what are the programs available, and how do you as an employer or a HR professional representing your company could get started on this program. So what then is a Professional Conversion Program? As the name implied, it is meant for PMETs, professional managers, executives, and technicians, including those in mid-career switches. And the intent is that the individuals or the person is going through a skills conversion and to move into a new occupation or sector with better perspective or opportunities for progress. How it is done? There's 2 modes of using of a professional conversion program. One is a place and train. So a place and train is a hired and train. So what it means is that PMETs is being hired or continually hired by a participating employers before it undergoes the program to get immersed into a new role. So the process is that the individual would have to be hired first before they are placed into the program itself. And I will share a little bit more at my latest slide, what are the eligible criteria for one to fit into a PCP through a place and train. Another mode of PCP is the in-company redeployment conversion. So companies these days are all going through a different set, different pathways to digitalize their company practices or their businesses. And as they go through these processes, job will change. And in order to ensure that companies and their employees continue to remain relevant after such a conversion, we have introduced, or we have an in-company redeployment conversion that enables the employee to continue to function even after a transformation. Right, so at the bottom slide, we show the different tracks whereby we have data analytics, software development, business analytics, AI, as well as digital product managers and digital transformation. So these are the key areas that we will focus on as part of our PCP. So what is the eligible criteria? So as a company, firstly, you ought to be a registered or incorporated company in Singapore. And that means that you are registered in ACRA. Then you are committed to work with WSG and NUS-ISS, that is, as we are the appointed program managers to administer the PCP program. You are willing to offer employment directly to the individual that is relating to a job role that is aligned to the PCP program. And you're willing to support the individual through this whole training phase, and eventually to provide a company-sponsored project to help the person or the new hire go through the OJT period, or we call it project practicum. So that's what's required as a hiring company or the HR side. Now, what about the individual? Who would be able to qualify to be placed into a PCP? Firstly, he or she has to be a Singapore citizen or a PR. Has to be graduated or completed his national service, whichever is later, for at least 2 years. And the most important criteria, the person should not be doing a similar job function prior to joining the PCP. And in some cases, in our PCP programs, we would require them to undertake a entrance assessment. Now, the purpose of this entrance assessment is not to test on knowledge, but to test on the person's ability to cope with the course, because the PCP program can sometimes be quite rigorous, and we do require the best success rate for this individual to go through the program successfully. So how does a PCP works? Essentially, being a place and train, you have to be placed first. That means the person ought to be hired by the companies. There are two ways the company can consider that. They may identify some potential candidates from their own contacts or from their own advertisement, and then introducing them through us, that we will then help in terms of the hiring process. Alternatively, NUS-ISS do receive hundreds of applications from individuals who are interested, who express their interest to undergo the program. And we will be happy as well to help to shortlist suitable candidates for you, whom you would like to consider placing through into your company's position and through this program. So there is firstly then an interview and hire. And based on your job description, NUS-ISS, me and my career services team will help you to shortlist the most suitable candidate for you. And we will also ask for the company through you to provide us details in terms of job roles descriptions, as well as possible project plans for the practicum piece. Now, once the candidate has gone through successfully through the interview process and your company selection process and our selection process, and they have successfully been placed, the next phase is to go through the training courses. So our training courses is extremely intensive. It can range from 15 days to 45 days, depending on the program. Different program will have different course duration, but it will be a full-time course duration for the person taking the program from morning 9 to 5. Now, this is a time where they will learn new skills, learn to level up their skills, and be prepared for the job that they are about to embark on. Now, after going through the intensive training, there is always a need for one to be immersed. Just like any other companies, when they hire a new person, there is always a period of orientation as well as going through a period of internship. So similarly for us, there is a 4 months project practicum, or we can simply call it an OJT, whereby the company will provide a project. The candidates or the students who have finished their course will have to spend the 4 months to complete this project under the supervision of our training staff, together with a sponsor from the company itself to help to guide as well as manage the students through the program, this 4 months program. The students during this 4 months period are expected to return to NUS-ISS periodically, which there will be about 3 scheduled presentations where they have to show progress in their project and to receive further guidance from our teaching staff. Now, throughout this whole period of phase 1 and phase 2, there will be grant, as an employer, as a hiring manager or a HR for the companies, we will arrange for training grants as well as salary support, right? As a way of incentivizing the company who help the individual to go through this conversion journey. So what is this? How does this work? So as I shared earlier, there's an entrance assessment. During phase 1 is a classroom training. The classroom training could be anything from 1 month to 2 months, depending on the program. And the individuals or the student must have at least a 70% attendance throughout the period of training. And there will be intermittent class assessment to assess that they have learned something and they are able to progress on. During the second phase, which is the project practicum or the OJT, which is a 4 months OJT, the students have to go through with the company to go finish their sponsored project within this period. They'll be supervised by our training staff together with a representative from the sponsored companies. And there'll be three progressive project presentation that they need to bring back to NUS-ISS. On completion of this 5 to 6 months training and practicum, they'll be awarded the professional diploma for the various pathway tracks from NUS-ISS. So what are the programs the PCP programs available in NUS-ISS? First and foremost, we have the data analytics. The DA, as what we call it, has been a long-standing program with NUS-ISS for the last 3 to 4 years. The intent is to train individuals or person to convert them towards competent individuals in the role of data analyst. Now, different companies will call it differently, but more importantly, what is the job role? The intended job role is that they are able to organize, present data, knows how to perform data trends, able to make prediction and prepare reports as well as metrics. So some companies or some industry may call them investment analysts, market analysts, business analysts, as long as they are able to perform the job role. So the important aspect is not the job title, but what they are expected to do. So full stack developers, as the name implied, is the entire stack, both front end and back end. So ultimately in companies' title, they may call them software engineers, software developers, full stack developers, but ultimately what they should be able to do within the job role is to be able to manage both front end and back end development, where they will learn about Java, JavaScript, HTMLs, as well as the different databases. And they are also be taught on different kinds of mobile app development and data modeling. Then next one is the business analytics for program analysts. Now, how does that, some people will say, how does that differ from data analysts? Data analysts are specialists. They look at data. They actually have to do analytics, predictive analytics, text analytics, detailed work, technical work using data. But then again, someone has to be able to learn, be able to interpret the results of those analyses and to be able to explain them as business decision, business strategies, or business outcome. And that is the part where we introduce, just this year alone, a business analytics program analyst. Why is so important? Because with all the analysis, someone must be able to translate or convert or explain this analysis into some form of business decision and outcome so that the business can move the information forward with a certain course of action. And this can apply to anyone in a company, from IT, from business development, from operations, finance, marketing, HR even, right? And what do they need to learn? They need to learn about what are your business requirements. How do you translate your business requirement into analytical outcome, whereby an analyst would know how to do it? How do you design and visualize your business insight based on those data that are given to you? And how do you organize projects so that the analyst can carry out the kind of development that is required by the business? So it is a very important job role that is now ever growing within the areas of businesses, business operations, and front-end operations. Next, we also have the AIs. So here we have heard many times from medias, from the news, that Singapore have to move ahead in terms of AIs, machine learning, as well as Internet of Things, etc., etc. So there is a growing demand for AI engineers. And AI engineers will need to learn about machine learning or understanding enough intelligent reasoning and how to put it into a business domain. So this is very applicable for system analysts or developers, because today in our ICT environment, there are legacy systems, and some of these legacy systems, as a result of transformation, may be made obsolete. What do you do with the skills of those programmers and maintaining developers who have acquired the legacy systems? Do you want to bring them back into learning another language, or take opportunity of their learning of their domain experience and take them to the next higher level, which is AI, right? Previously, one of my colleagues shared about digital product manager in an earlier schedule. So digital product manager do not get confused with product manager. It is an evolving role. It is an evolving role as companies are going towards digital products, whereby their product is a digital platform. Just the same like any portal services, those are our product, those are our shopfront, and as well as our product itself. So companies have to evolve. When they embrace electronic platforms or digital platforms, they will need digital product. And where would this come from? It would be either a project manager or a product manager or a business manager who has to learn to embrace technology and business at the same time. And this is the new evolving role that we see is growing and require transformation from different angle, whether from IT or from business. And it can be a digital product marketing manager or e-commerce or e-business. But ultimately, one of the skill sets that's important is understanding customers, understanding what the customer wants, understanding customer behavior, and to be able to model business to address those customers' needs. Understanding the technology so as to bring the value proposition to the customers through your platform or your products. And ultimately, continuous improvement upon the product because customer behavior shifts. Then, smart health transformation. Every company is going through a transformation. So transformation is not limiting to just an IT. It can be anyone, from the finance to the HR to operations, logistics. It is a whole company-wide experience. And this program is catered to give the widest possible spread to teach about design thinking, data storytelling, business process reengineering, etc., and understanding IT architecture, business architecture. Then lastly, solution architect. So similarly, like the case of AI engineers, we also may require, as part of a digital product platform, to have solution architects who could help in managing the IT synchronization of the infrastructure in relation to business growth and change. And that's where your platform architecture, strategy, and project is absolutely important, as well as to understand how IT architecture and structure can help to support business growth. So with all the 7 different PCP pathway tracks, as a HR person, I think the question would be, how does it fit into my different job roles and different organization structure in my company? So my next slide kind of helps you to summarize the different common job role type within a typical company and how would each of these different PCP programs pathway would be able to fit into those areas. So as you can see, we have actually very simply break down a typical job role in a organization into IT, product development, business development, marketing, operations, and finance. All right, and if you look at how these programs will fit in, PCP for data analytics, business analytics, smart health transformation cuts across all disciplines within a company. So in other words, anyone in those job roles will find that taking these programs will actually help them as part of a conversion. And you will need those competencies as the company begin to digitalize. The other aspect, a broader aspect, will also be the PCP data digital product management, where you will see that it cut across all business functions, including IT, right? And solution architect, AI, and full stack will cut across IT, as well as product development or management, depending if this is a digital product company. So as you can see that our 7 programs actually cut across all functions within a typical company function. Something for the HR to consider and take back. My next slide will actually delve a little bit more detail into the various pathway tracks and what are the programs. I may have already covered them briefly in my earlier explanation, but I will delve a little bit more as we go through the different pathways. So for data analysts, as I shared earlier, it is a very data-centric and technical tracks where it emphasizes a lot on through our statistical camps, predictive analytics, understanding trends, and doing text analysis, as well as understanding the customer and managing products. And within their 4 months practical project or OJT, they are required to do data analytics related projects. So what are those? Some of our previous candidates or students have done simple projects. Like for instance, they have a portal in their business and the portal has many customers coming back and forth using their portals for different reasons. Through the analytics, they begin to understand the customer behavior on what sort of products tend to sell better during different seasons. Take for instance, we have an example of a local insurance companies. They actually use the portal experience to understand that during certain period where people tend to travel, they will tend to go for a certain products. All right, I think you all know what it is. But even within the product, there are certain preferences that tend to be higher, which means that sometimes people just prefer to buy certain product more in certain configuration, like a basic plan. So instead of getting the customers to having to go through the whole clicking process, after the analysis, the business decision then was that why not make this at the front of the page and make it within 1 click and able to make use of all the other information that the customers had provided in the past. So in essence, it simplified the whole customer experience, and it creates a delightful customer experience through the journey. So that is one classical use case of how companies make use of data analytics to help in their business decision. So full stack developers, I shared earlier, it is a front end, back end, so it covers your server side development. So in server side, they will learn about databases, data modeling, how do you develop database, build business decisions. Then the client's service side looks at the front end development of HTMLs and data captures. It also, because of security, which is always a big concern, it also covers on security as well as how do you manage messaging. So we have worked on many projects in the past. One of them is actually using the portal to help individuals plan for their journey. So we did have students in the past who basically developed an app using full stack and mobile app. And yet what it does is that what the individuals who likes to travel, all right, instead of having to work out their own travel plan, through the portal, you ask a specific set of questions. How many days do you want to go? What's your budget? And all this. And through that, the system, through the full stack development, through the portal, they will provide a set of recommended journey to help the individual to shortlist their planning trips. So this is one of those live projects that our student went through. So their project are real life application that were used and can be used by companies and to eventually develop into a full suite product. AI is a new program for us. So we just launched it months ago. So it is a fundamental first step for any developers or programmers who wants to take on the AI journey. But by the way, these 3 programs is also form part of our grad cert program, which means that if your employees goes through this program, they are on their journey to complete a grad cert, and eventually they can proceed into our master tech program. Digital product manager, my colleague have shared earlier. So it is meant for project managers who wants to be product managers or business managers who wants to be a digital product managers. It helps the company in terms of building digital products. So it covers your digital product manager, system design, service design, digital product, as well as architecture. So it is a mix of product management, business, as well as IT. Smart Health Transformation Analyst is a company-wide, as we shared earlier. It can apply to anyone, whether you're in business, IT, or back-end operations. It covers a whole suite of skill set, from design thinking to data storytelling, system thinking, business process reengineering, and transformation planning. So it actually encapsulates the whole service design as well as digital transformation skill set, which is very applicable for any roles within the companies. And for companies that are planning on going into a digital transformation journey, this is the program that is very critical to be training all your staff to be ready for this journey together with you. Solution architect supports the digital product, where you manage the cloud, which is a very growing skill set right now, DevOps, as well as architects. So HRs and employers, I think this is an important question that you may be in your mind for the last half an hour as we go through and I explain things to you. Now, for our programs, it is heavily subsidized by SSG. Depending on the age and profile of your training, of your employees that you hired, they are entitled between 70 to 90% of the training subsidies. And on top of that, there's also a salary subsidies. If you were to hire a mid-career, go through the programs within the 5 or 6 months, they can be entitled up to 90% of their monthly salary subsidies during those training period and OJT period. I will just spare a few seconds for you to take a deep look into the pricing because I would not cover everything. Right? So when is the next intake? We do have some programs ready for intake now. Some, because they are new, they are still in plan. But all our programs are already open in our portal. You can see the details of those programs if you visit our portals for the different PCPs. So DA, we do have our intake coming soon in September. And full stack, we have one in October. The rest of them are actually planned in the coming month of September and November. But please look into our website for the latest update and detail, please. So some forward questions that I'd like to share with you first before we go into our Q&A, because these are some of the questions that we receive time and again from different employers and HR managers. So one of them is that if I have a position that open to a PCP conversion, what should I do? So you might be looking for a candidate, and if you have one who fits the hiring criteria and meets the eligibility, please bring them, introduce them to us, and we'll walk them through the whole process. Meanwhile, we can also hire on behalf of the companies. As a business owner, how do you enroll oneself into it? So you just have to, can your business owner enroll yourself into a PCP? Answer is no. If you are an owner of a company, you cannot enroll yourself. Is the PCP training a full-time program? Yes, it is. All right. Most of our programs here in ISS are full-time. What happens if the candidate terminates halfway? So ultimately, we do not encourage. That's why the selection process is extremely important, and we want to help you. So that's why for us, we would like to be involved in part of your screening. What are the conditions where employer may apply for in-company? So as a company goes through transformation, some of the roles might become obsolete. And we want to help the employees. If you want to help employees to stay on with the job, we can help you by working with you to develop the necessary JDs, as well as helping you to go through the approval process with WSG. But this will be going on a case-by-case basis. How should you claim your salary support? So typically, salary support only kicks in when the students complete the entire program. So for you as an employer, you need to help in terms of the documentation to make sure that all the necessary support documentation are available as we prepare the submission. Right, with this, I leave us now with a Q&A, but I'm sure some of you who are employers or HR manager may have other questions that are unique to you, and you would like to have a one-to-one session. Please click on the QR code and register your interest, and then we will arrange a call with you directly, all right, on a suitable time of your preference, right? I'll leave the QR code there for you to snap, but at the same time, we welcome any question that you might have. So there's some questions about the smart health. Now, the smart health transformation analytics, although it is contextualized to the healthcare industry, it is not meant only for healthcare, because if you can see from the topic, the programs are very general. It covers business analytics, it covers data storytelling, it covers project management, etc. So it is not limiting to just healthcare. We do have people who are from the banking sectors, who are from the finance sectors, from the manufacturing sectors and service sectors who join in those programs, and they actually find it very useful, all right, because it helps them in terms of seeing business from a different perspective, and they can have a different level of business dialogue that will bring in different competency. And who knows, during those periods, you may even network and gain different other customers as well. Right, there is one question about one who graduate from finance and degree, and what would you recommend? I think it's not where you came from, but where you want to go. That is important. And where you want to go need to come with a passion and the right attitude to learn and relearn. And this is more important from a professional conversion program perspective than where you come from. So you can be a finance, it can be an accounting degree person, or even an engineer by training. If you feel that the data analyst job role is something that you're interested and you like to pivot yourself towards the new job role, by all means, but be prepared that you may have to unlearn certain things along the journey, but it is a journey. And it's good to speak to our career coach if you are unsure, or to speak to your potential employers if you have one. Right. I think there are some questions about elaborate on the healthcare analytics, which I've shared earlier. So So there's also a question here about if my company is going through a digital transformation, how do I approach NUS-ISS? If I want to look at, how would NUS-ISS help me in bringing my employee into this new area of work? So come to us and share with us your plan. And what are the concerns and who are the employees are going to be impacted? Ultimately, certain job roles may have to change, certain job roles may be lost. We will work with you as an employer through the various functions and what are the areas that are changed, what are the skill sets needed, and to help you to identify the type of training. And at the same time, we would also use that as a means to introduce relevant PCP programs that will help those affected employees to level up or pivot into those new job function. There is some question about other classes conducted virtually. In the past, we do physical class. And as of now, most of our classes are virtual because of the circuit breaker measures. And we will continue to do so until further notice. So what's ahead, we really can't tell because things are still very fluid now. But we will certainly look into trying to make the learning experience as productive, as efficient, as comfortable as possible for all our trainees. Right. So some of you may ask, Winston, if I am an individual and I found an employer, because I'm sure some of you were over online, could be individuals and you're not employers yourself, am I able to still take the PCP? So there are two possibilities. If you have an employer and the employer is keen to support you on the PCP, then introduce the employer to us together. And we will talk through and help you understand where these new job roles are leading, what your current job role is, and what are the eligibility criteria. And if both are found eligible, we will walk you through the process. We will certainly help you in the journey towards embarking on this PCP program, right? But if you don't have an employer, you can also take part on this whole journey of conversion by signing up to our grad cert programs. Because our grad cert programs are designed for individuals who wants to go through a conversion or an upskilling. And they are similarly as rigor as a PCP program itself. Right. So we also welcome you to look at our website, look at the grad cert programs, and please give it some consideration. Oh, that's a good question. We have a person who attended the introduction to the bridging program that we have with E2I that we introduced 2 days ago. So PCP program is a program that you enrolled on. But in the past experience, there isn't, when the individuals or the students are not prepared for the program, they actually have to work very hard. So we have now partnered with E2I to provide a bridging program. Two things. Firstly, is to give you a flavor of the journey that you are interested in. So you can use this time to try out, learn about it, and gain some knowledge about your career pathway interests. And secondly, remember that in a PCP program, there is always this interview phase, selection. And this is also to prepare you to go through the selection process, because when you are equipped, you stand a much better chance of being impressed and to be selected for a job, right? Oh, that's a long one. Right, so this is a long question, but to make it short, there's one question that he's not from an engineering background nor IT background, but he's in the business degree, but would like to have an interest, whether can he join into the AI program. So I think I've also answered that similarly. It is not about where you come from, it's where you want to go. And you're willing to take part of that journey and willing to work hard for it. So PCP is not limiting you from where you come from, but if you're ready to take part in that journey and to be able to work hard through this conversion process, we welcome your application. Right, if there's any last question. So there's also an employer asking, perhaps as an employer, may like to ask, if my companies are going through this conversion, what do I need to do and provide to NUS-ISS? Or as I said, come to us, talk through the plan, conversion plan, show us the JDs, show us the profile of the people, and we will work together with you to find out what are the skill sets required, how to transit them into those areas, and then how do we go about getting the necessary approval so that you and your company and your selected employee can take through this journey. And not forgetting that as we go through this PCP conversion, they are also be providing salary supports as well as training grant support. Right, if there's no other further question, I thank you all for your time and stay well. Thank you.